My name is Kenneth Palmer from New Jersey, and my rank was E3. Name of the band was Wasted Blood. We called it that because that was at the height of the protests going on in the country, and we've all realized that this was just a waste of time, and these people, all of our friends, all these people, all of this effort was for no reason at all. They were back in the States shooting students in colleges. We were over here getting killed, and we knew it was for absolutely no reason. There was no reason for us to do this. They weren't going to allow us to finish the job. They weren't going to back us to do the job right. So it was just wasted blood. So that's what our name was. No one ever realized the name was a protest name. They used to introduce us as the Wasted Bloods. Well, the Bloods is the name of a gang, and they're generally pretty wasted all the time. We were wasted blood. It was just a waste of time. But we had a good time doing it. Toward the end, we were allowed to charge a little bit for shows, about $100 for a show. But I don't think we ever did. We actually had uniforms made from Hong Kong, fit to our size. We actually went very professional a while. That was just before the whole grunge thing took over. But when I was in high school, all the bands generally had one type of outfit. And the front singer would stand up and we'd have a similar outfit, but it would be a different color to really make him out front. I saw James Brown, I saw the Rascals, I saw the Young Bloods, I saw the Supremes, the Shangri-Las. They all dressed I even saw the Beatles. The Beatles were the same way. They all had those pinstripe suits. In the 60s, just before we went to Vietnam and Hurricane Camille, Woodstock happened. That was the first time in rock and roll history that they flew rock musicians into shows by helicopters. When was the second time? The second time, as far as I know, was when they flew us from Red Beach to China Beach by helicopter to do a show, because that was long before Altamont Speedway and all that, and I don't believe they flew them in by helicopter. So I think we're really part of rock and roll history and Navy history, because it never happened before Woodstock. And then at Woodstock, that's when the whole thing changed with bands. They all started going with everybody wearing whatever they want. So at the same time, if you look at the pictures, and I have a real big stack of pictures, I also have recordings of the band that I've had, yes. To have 1,800 feet of tape, I cannot find it. That was recorded by one of the guys that was in our battalion. So I have a copy of that. Now, a few years ago, at the anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War, I was working one day, and I heard this guy on the radio talking about something, and he says, while I was in Vietnam, this particular song always brought a smile to my face. And he stopped right there. So I had to sit in the truck. I'm a landscaper. I had to sit in the truck until he told me what song that was. He comes back on the air and says, the name of the song is Rocky Raccoon. I said, wait a minute, I gotta call this guy. Because I think it was during New Year's Eve of that tour, we were playing, I think it was China Beach. It could have been a number of places, but I believe it was a big place. This officer walks up to it had to be China, it was an officer's club anyway. He walked up to the stand and says, hands me a piece of paper and says, if you can play either one of these songs, I'll give you a bottle of champagne. I looked at the list. I said, I can play both these songs. I'll give you 2 bottles of champagne. Well, I'll tell you, don't drink 2 bottles of champagne. Worst hangover of my life. But the radio announcer and I had a conversation about that. I went on the air, and I've got recordings of that. He made a whole recording at the 30th, it was the 30th or 40th anniversary of the end of the Vietnam War. He was in Army intelligence in Vietnam. So I did a whole talk, basically a little bit about the story about the band, played some songs live over the air, and this show was broadcast over the internet, worldwide, by satellite into both war zones twice. I never heard anyone that heard the show. But just to know that it went, pretty, a nice feeling. It's a story that should be told. It's just most unlikely. Friends of mine that were in the Marines, they said, what? But I have yet to meet a person that ever heard us. ever. I mean, guys in our battalion, I mean, they look at me and they say, Palmer, because I didn't know a lot of guys. I was, then I say, I was a guitar player. Yeah, I remember you. You guys were good. And we were. I mean, musicians who have heard parts of the tape say, you guys were good. You guys were real. And I cannot find anyone in the band except the one man in Arizona. Everyone else in the band, one I think was from Georgia. One guy, I mean, I checked with the guy from the battalion. He lives right here in Virginia someplace. There's no address on him. One guy was from Kentucky. One guy was, yeah, that was it. And one guy was from Louisiana, one of our singers. He was a bosun's mate.